Have you ever wished there were more volunteers on your team? I think if you're watching this, the answer is yes, because if you've ever served in a ministry, and if you're watching this, you're probably one of our leaders here at Stapleton Church, you want more people serving. There's always a position to fill. And I want to teach you a simple technique called shoulder tapping that will change the way that you recruit and find volunteers. So here's the concept. It actually comes from a pastor by the name of Michael Fletcher. And Michael Fletcher is the senior pastor at Manna Church in North Carolina, which is just outside of Fort Bragg. And what he found of just 2 years into being a senior pastor, he finally got enough people serving, volunteering in positions. He put leaders in place. And then 2 years in, almost all of those leaders left. Why? Because they were in the military. And he found out that at their church, that every 2 years, they would have a 55% turnover rate. So he had to figure out how to recruit and train more leaders quicker. And that's where this concept of shoulder tapping comes from. So what's the idea? Well, the first thing is a mindset shift, and then we're going to have 4 simple steps so that you can start shoulder tapping. First thing, instead of thinking, how can I fill this position? You start thinking, how could I develop more leaders? We don't just fill positions, we develop leaders, because God has called us to help people follow Jesus, not just to plug all the different positions that we need finished. No. How can I develop the right people in the right positions so that they become the people that God has called them to be? So that's what leads us to step number 1, selection. When we're talking about selection, well, we're actually talking about who. Who is the person? What is the identity? What is the profile of the type of person I'm looking for my ministry? So for example, the welcome team. Well, who do we want to be on the welcome team? Any old warm body won't do. We need people who are actually extroverted, who are outgoing, who are good at having conversations even with strangers. So if I'm thinking that's what I want, we list 3, perhaps 5 characteristics of the type of person that we're looking for this ministry. Now on a Sunday morning or a community group or at an event for our church, you're going to start looking around and you're going to automatically zoom in and narrow down to the people who fit the criteria, who fit the profile of what you're looking for. So you've already got the person in mind. So there's actually going to be a much better chance that they're going to be a good fit for serving on your team. Step 2, connection. We've got to connect with these individuals because you may have just met them for the first time. How do you do that? Component 1, talk to them. Talk to them. Start there. I used to start with the opportunity and say, hey, I need somebody. Would you do this? No. We start by talking to them about them. So here's the thing. You've looked at this person. You've seen this person and you say, wow, last week at community group, you made incredible cookies. They were so good and you served them to us. And you did such a great job of making us feel welcome in your home and loved. I can tell that you have the gift of hospitality. Thank you for being such a good host or hostess. You've just talked to them and they're starting to feel encouraged, built up. That's good because we're telling the truth about this person, good things that we see in them. That's component 1 of the connection. Component 2, the vision. We start with why you are in ministry to begin with. So you're saying, hey, I love being a part of our worship team. When we serve on the worship team, it is so incredible because it's not just playing music, which is fun in itself. But we look out from the stage and we see people with tears going down their face, with hearts that are open. Because when we play music, we draw people into the presence of God. And when they experience the presence of God, they are transformed. And it's amazing just to be a part of that. That's why I do it. Okay, so you've talked to them about the vision for why you do what you do. And the third thing is to talk to them now about the opportunity. Hey, in Elevate Kids, we have a shortage. We need a few people to serve with the 5th and 6th grade classroom. The 5th and 6th graders, they need people. Hey, this is right with the age when they're starting to learn things for themselves. Most 5th and 6th graders are able then, now for the first time perhaps, to make a decision to follow Jesus. And we need 2 leaders to serve with Elevate Kids 5th and 6th grade class. Okay, that's when we tie it back to vision. Yes, vision again. Why we need people in this ministry. Why does this ministry even exist? So you tie it again. We need you on Wednesday nights at Turbulence, because at Turbulence, when we serve our students, it is so powerful. We have teenagers coming from difficult backgrounds that are going through divorce and depression. And when we're there with teenagers on Wednesday night, we are forming these people not only to be followers of Jesus and disciples, but we are transforming and creating the next generations of leaders. Do you realize that's what's going on every Wednesday night at Turbulence? Boom, the vision. We're raising the bar here. We're showing that this is part of God's grand vision for the kingdom of God. Step 4, you've got to make the ask. You've got to make the ask. So how do you do that? 1, clarify the commitment. Clarify, what are the expectations for this position? I'm going to need you to be there every week. Unless you're sick or traveling, I need you to be there. Can you do that? 2nd, caution. Caution them to pray. Say, hey, I want you to go home. Even if they're excited about it, they're like, ooh, that does sound cool. You say, hey, would you just stop, take one day, take a week, pray about it, talk with your spouse, and get back to me. Or, hey, I'll follow up in a week and see, is this the right position after you've prayed about it? And 3, make them have a commitment, okay? You've got to finally say, are you ready to commit? You prayed about it this whole week. Are you ready to make the commitment? Okay, great. Boom, you have just shoulder tapped a person. This is actually way, way more effective than an announcement to the whole church body or a blurb that we put out in our buzz. If you're able to individually make this selection, we've already narrowed it down to the people who are the best fit for the job. You've already made a good connection. You've cast a vision for them, and now you've asked them. I think if you learn this skill of shoulder tapping, we're actually going to see more and more people serving, more and more leaders being developed in these ministries. So start shoulder tapping.